It looks like we finally have a Major League Baseball season. The plan is set. We've got a 60-game season, and I'm here to tell you all the details of what you need to know, what's going to be different, what's going to be the same for the 2020 MLB season. I'm Ben Cason here for Off the Air Productions. Let's just get right into it. So, a weird season coming up for 2020. Obviously, a lot of stuff going on. The coronavirus. We had a lot of labor issues for Major League Baseball. I already made a video here on Off the Air Productions. I'll link it in the description to see what I thought about that. But now it looks like this labor dispute is over for now, and we have a 60-game season set. So each team's going to play only 60 games this year, which, of course, in normal Major League Baseball, it's 162 games. So this is going to be a short sprint of a season for sure. And I'm interested to see this year how this affects the title and who is actually in it. Because in Major League Baseball, 60 games, like I said, it feels like a big sample size. It's really not. If we're looking at, when it comes to pitching, you'll be pitching 12 times a season in a 5-man rotation. You can get hot for 12 starts pretty easily, and you could finish the year with a really bad overall record and ERA in a normal year. So the question this year is going to be which team is hot at the right time. And there's a lot of teams playing a lot of games. So here's the first major difference that we're going to see. The games are going to be played, looks like, in their own ballparks for each team. So it's not going to be in a specific spot like the NBA in Orlando. But it sounds like we're going to have no fans, at least at the beginning. We'll see how that goes. They're playing it by ear, but it looks like it's going to be empty stadiums. Now, with the 60-game schedules, the other interesting part is these 60 games are going to be played 40 games within your division and then 20 games against the corresponding division from the other league. So, for example, the Rangers, they're going to be playing 10 games against each of their 4 division rivals, which would be the Mariners, the Athletics, the Angels, and the Astros. And then they'd still have 20 games to play against, since they're the AL West, the NL West. Now would be the Rockies, Padres, Dodgers, Giants, all those guys. And so that's the way it's going to work all throughout. And so we're not going to see any interdivision battle when it comes to the American League and the National League, which you're not going to see any AL East versus AL Central. You're not going to see any NL East versus NL Central or NL East versus NL West. It's going to be staying strictly West, Central, and East for a little bit, yet the standings are all going to go into AL versus NL. So, it's going to be really interesting because I think the Central, if you ask me, between the two leagues is the weakest of the sets. I think the West is really tough. I think the East has a lot of very good teams. Now in the Central, it's a lot of question marks in the NL, and then the AL, you got the Twins, and then a whole bunch of teams that I'm just not crazy about. So I think it's going to benefit the teams in the NL Central in the wild card race that they'll get to play games against the AL Central, if that makes sense. So basically, what I would take away from that is you're going to be playing a lot of teams for your local team that's in your general geographical area. Obviously, it's east to west, so you're still going to have games like Washington, D.C. against Miami Marlins, for example. But it's going to be interesting to see which of these new setups are harder. I think the West is going to be the toughest, but we'll see, and how that affects the playoff race. Now, the playoffs, there's a lot of discussion about expanding the playoffs because of the short sample size, but we didn't end up doing that. So it sounds like it's going to be the same playoff scenario where it's 10 teams for each, or 5 teams for each league. 10 teams for the entire Major League Baseball. So it's going to be a sprint to the finish, and there's not a lot of playoff spots. You still got your 3 division winners and your 2 wild cards, and then from there we're playing our normal playoffs. Now, for roster setup, it's interesting. So the season starts, and we're going to have 30-man rosters for the first 2 weeks of the season. So as you know, for baseball, there's a 25. It's going to be a 26-man roster this year, but now it's going to be 30 for the first few weeks, and then it's going to go down to 28 for the next 2 weeks, and then 26 for the final weeks of the season. So they're splitting it up. Some they're going to have 30, then 28, then 26. So keep an eye for your team how that changes. There will still be a trade deadline. The trade deadline is usually going to be about July 31st, but that's not going to be the case this year. It's going to be August 31st. The first pitch of the season is supposed to be July 23rd through the 24th, and games will probably be played through September before we get into playoffs. So the official schedule is still on the way out, but when you look at Major League Baseball, it's going to be a short sprint. That's the thing you got to know for your team. Short sprint. Don't get into a slump. Get hot at the right time. Now, additional details that you want to talk about for baseball. First off, you're an NL fan. There's no more designated hitter this year. I'm really hoping that this is just a one-year thing and we can get back to having no DH out in the NL, because I love the strategy of the National League when there's not a designated hitter in there. But this season, there will be a designated hitter in the American and the National Leagues. So you'll see how that affects teams. Specifically, the Dodgers come to mind as a team that is really deep, and I wasn't sure where guys like Max Muncy were going to get spots in the lineup to hit. Now they're going to get a DH spot. They'll be in the lineup every day. Additionally, a guy like Ryan Braun for the Brewers, who's still really good with the bat, but he's not quite as great defensively. He'll get a chance to DH this year. I think that helps a few teams. For other teams, though, it's other teams might have caught up because it's not a part of their plan, right? So a lot of teams in the NL, you're not planning to have a DH, and now out of nowhere you have to have one. We'll see. I'm interested to see how it goes. There's a lot of good hitters in the league, but for this year at least, there's going to be no pitchers hitting. Okay, additionally, we're going to have the minor league rule for extra innings. So I can get on my own rant about this if you want me to, but the minor league rule for extra innings is once you get to the 10th inning, you start the extra innings, each one with a runner on second already. So the way it's going to work is whoever was the last out in the inning before will be that runner on second base to start the inning. And it's going to count the same as an error when it comes to pitchers' ERAs, but it's not going to show up on the scorecard. Now, I still really hate this. I really hate this for baseball. I really hope this isn't like a sign of what's eventually going to come. For this year, I think they just want to do it to speed up games, but they've been talking about this trade for a while. I don't love that you have to start with a runner on second base in extra innings. We'll see if it makes it more interesting, if it speeds it up, but that's going to be a change that's implemented this year. Additionally, we are keeping the 3-batter minimum this year. So this was being discussed, and it was agreed on by the owners at the winter meetings. For relievers who come in and just get one out is not going to be allowed because of the time for a pitching change. So whenever you bring in a reliever or any pitcher, they have to get 3 batters, you have to face 3 batters, or they have to end the inning. So if there's 2 outs and you have a good lefty up and you bring in your lefty reliever, if he strikes that guy out, you're out of the inning. And you can bring someone else in the next inning because the inning's over. But that rule will stay for this upcoming season, so we will still see how that goes. A bit of experimentation for Major League Baseball. I'm really excited about this season. The main thing I'm excited about is how competitive it's going to be. Each game is really going to matter because 60 games to play is not much. So if you look at last year, through 60 games, a team like the Rangers would have made the playoffs, but the eventual World Series champion, the Nationals, didn't actually make the playoffs if we say that the season ended after 60 games. Another interesting thing to look at is last year within the American League and National League. If you go through 35 games on the season, just with a few left, through 35, 26 of the 30 teams in baseball were within 5 games of a playoff spot. So, as we go at the end of the season, a lot of teams are going to have more hope, I think. And I like that. I do like that part of this. It's kind of an unintended side effect, but we're going to have teams that are in it that aren't usually in it at that point. We'll see how this affects strategy when it comes to the trade deadline, and I'm looking forward to that. Oh, by the way, also of those 26 teams that were within 5 games of a playoff spot through 35 last year, the eventual World Series champion Nationals were not one of them because they got off to a slow start and they picked it up in the second half. But I'm just glad to say we do have baseball coming. Again, it's going to be July 23rd to 24th. That's going to be the start. It's going to run through September, 60 games a team. The playoffs are still the same. It's going to be interesting. I'm really looking forward to it. We'll be right here on Off the Air Productions, and I'll be breaking down stuff as the year goes on. And obviously, I'm a Rangers homer, so I'm hoping that the Rangers get hot at the right time and can win a title. Thanks a lot for watching. We got a lot more stuff here on Off the Air Productions. Go check out some of our podcasts. Go check out some of our other videos. Go check out some animations. We got some gaming stuff coming. We really appreciate it. Give us a like. Give us a subscribe. Thanks for watching, and it's about to be baseball time.